Good evening. I'd like to call to order Village of Gurnee Planning and Zoning Board for this Wednesday, May 19th, 2021. Could we have roll call, please?
Bow.
Here.
Garrity.
Here.
Nordentoff. Path.
Here.
Paysack. Riley. And Sula.
Present. We do have a quorum. If everyone would please stand and join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, the first item on the agenda is a minor sign exception request from Total Paving located at 1551 North Delaney Road. Clara?
Yep. George Lozada of Total Paving, located at 1551 North Delaney Road, is requesting a minor sign exception to allow a ground sign that is set back 0 feet from the front property line instead of the required 10 feet. The proposed sign consists of distinctive materials and is approximately 6.5 feet tall, 15 feet wide, and 75 square feet in size. A minor sign exception can be granted by the Planning and Zoning Board if they find that the number, size, design, and placement of the proposed signs within the development are consistent with the stated purpose of the sign regulations. The Planning and Zoning Board has the final decision-making authority in this matter.
Yeah, and the only exception is the setback issue, correct?
Correct.
Okay. Is there anybody from, would you like to add anything, sir? If you could use the microphone.
Yes, sir. We have a really setback property. It's recently built, and part of the village requirements as of 2 years ago, we had to set back further than the rest of our neighbors to control the water with a retention pond that's essentially an acre. So there's very low visibility. In addition, we had to have a further setback than a lot of our neighbors. So in order for customers to see us and advertise and such, we would request that we, at the minimum, go on the property line so that we are somewhat visible. It is dangerous sometimes, as customers and trucks sometimes drive by and miss the property because of the setback as well.
Okay, thank you.
Any questions?
I certainly can see that it's a unique situation, and I knew where I was going, and it snuck up on me when I went to visit the site the other day. Does anybody else from the Planning and Zoning Board have any comments?
I have a question. I noted that they said that if Delaney was widened, some of those signs would have to be moved. Is that correct?
Well, some of those signs are probably put up in the 70s, but if they take the same amount of right-of-way that they took from the Total Paving site, those signs would be in the right-of-way, so they would have to move those.
The Total Paving sign wouldn't end up in the right-of-way, but...
No, they've already dedicated their right-of-way.
Oh, okay.
No, it's just the other signs that haven't dedicated the right-of-way that would have to, once they dedicate that right-of-way, their sign's probably within 20 feet of 15 feet of the actual existing right-of-way. So when they dedicate that additional 20 feet, it will be within there. This property is probably 35 feet back.
Okay, got it.
Brian or Tim?
I don't have any issues.
Tim?
Nothing.
Okay, as Clara indicated, a motion in the form of approval or denial would be it.
I'll make a motion.
Okay.
Motion to approve a minor sign exception for the Total Paving at 1551 North Delaney Road to allow a ground sign that is set back 0 feet from the front property line instead of the required 10 feet.
Second.
Second by Brian. Any discussion? Roll call, please.
Thank you, guys.
Bow.
Aye.
Garrity.
Aye.
Path.
Aye.
And Sula.
Aye, motion carries. As we've indicated, this is one of those unique situations where the final decision was made this evening, so I guess the next step would be getting a permit or whatever is required paperwork-wise.
Good to go.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda is an informal review requested by the Walk Through the Word Ministry Church proposed to be located at 151 North Greenleaf. Clara?
Yep. Reverend Coleman of Way Through the Word Ministry Church has requested an informal review for a proposed rezoning of 151 North Greenleaf. The property is currently zoned O1 Restricted Office District, and the church is seeking feedback on a proposal to rezone it to C1 Neighborhood Commercial District. The subject property is surrounded by office zone property to the north and south, commercial to the east, and residential to the west. The village's updated comp plan shows office for this property. The Planning and Zoning Board can also provide feedback on other options as well.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone from the church that would like to, please use the microphone, thank you.
Thank you for having us here today. My name is Reverend Ely Colvin. We came to Gurnee back in 2007, and we started at the Hampton Inn, then we went to Country Suite, and then we went to the library. Then we also went to First Christian Church in Gurnee. Now we are at the intermediate school in Gurnee. And we have been looking for a facility. We have come here before in 2014. And when we came here before, it was for a piece of property, and it was on the, let me look right here. It was on Northwestern, over at, what was it called? The Cross, I have it here. At that time, the people that were in charge were Gene Barnes, and we have all of the signatures here of the people that were on the zoning board at the time. Gene Baum, Greg Garner, Michael Jacobs, Chris DeMorris, and Cheryl Ross. We came here before, and when we came here before, we were told that the place that we had tried to get, it was okay. But then when we came again, they said that the zoning had changed, that it was for special use, and then when we talked to the people, it said it changed again. So then some other company from Wisconsin bought the building. Then we came for the building on, many times on different areas in Gurnee, and every time we've been told it's okay, and then we find out it's not okay. And so we're stuck in a position of not knowing in which direction to go, because here we got a zoning thing here for the building that we're looking at. It said C1. So we went out and got the church members and everybody together and looked at it, and then we find out the same thing again. It's not C1. And so we're just asking, what do we need to do in Gurnee in order to establish a church here? Because we've been here since 2007, and we've just been bouncing around into different areas, trying to stay effective in the community as well. So we are here to ask about the zoning concerning the building at 151 North Greenleaf.
Okay.
And I talked to the former mayor, and she told me to talk to you. I talked to the current mayor, that is mayor now, and he also said to talk to you because they don't understand why it would be C1 on 3 different sites.
Okay, first, I should have mentioned this, as I think you're aware, this is informal. We're not making any decisions or formal recommendations to the village board. We're just kind of a think tank, if you will. As I mull through the options that are before us, I'm not a real big fan of spot zoning, so I'm not sure that I would be able to support rezoning it to R1 or CO1. And in my mind, some of the things that are allowed in CO, is that the right one?
C2.
C1.
What's that?
It's currently O1.
It's currently O1, but C1 has some uses that are on the list that, in my mind, wouldn't potentially be good ones. As I look through the grid at comparing the existing zoning and C1, a lot of them line up pretty well. And I, for one, wouldn't be opposed to making a recommendation that we explore adding churches potential either as a permitted use or a special use.
I'm confused. The petitioner mentioned that you believed that it was zoned for, there was a,
The broker statement has the wrong, the broker listing has the wrong zoning classification.
It's on 4 different sites, C1.
and that's wrong.
I don't know what for sites, but it's always been zoned office for
Would you like to see the
30
ones we
year-
have?
30, 40 years. It's been zoned office. It hasn't changed.
Yeah, I guess
Would you like to see?
I don't need to see it. I think that, you know, if there's a question, if you got it off of some realtor, was it what a realtor told you?
No, it was here also on your Gurnee site.
So if the question is,
It was on the village site.
Can I see that?
It's not that way on our site, because I have it.
yeah, that's why I'm confused.
Yeah, that's where the confusion is, I mean, so the question is there a way that we can work into the system somehow for that particular piece of property to be, to have a church allowed is either a special use or a permitted use? Yeah, go ahead.
I agree with you that I would do it as a special use.
Add special use as a category for the O1
For a chur-
district.
right, for a church.
For the O1 district. Okay,
Because if it fits, then we would have the option to allow it.
right, right.
I was just gonna add too, I agree. I drove over, I went into the parking lot, went into the back, except for the dock that's in the back. You could easily, as you're driving down there, someone could tell me that it's a church already, and I would believe them. And I would say, looks like a church, except for the dock in the back.
Yeah.
And then when I take a look at it, I know that there's offices and some other uses around, commercial around there. But there are, to me, what I remember as I drove away were homes. So it seems that a church would fit into that neighborhood. So I also tend to agree, I would be, if we could make this work, I would be willing to say yes to that. Again, this is informal, and we gotta,
I guess,
favorable to me.
yeah, I guess the fundamental question is, do we believe that a church is potentially compatible in an office district?
In that one, I thought it fit. I mean, so I guess you'd have to look at each one individually, and that's why I say a special use permit.
Yeah.
Brian, you? I'm just listening. Okay, okay.
In that one, in that case, I could see it. Like I said, this is informal, and we would need to dot all our i's and cross the t's and really take a look at everything. But at first blush, to me, special use.
I mean, does anybody else have a comment with regard to my concern about spot zoning?
I agree.
Okay,
I agree with that too.
okay.
So it's,
You couldn't convert it to C2, because that wouldn't allow it.
Well,
That wouldn't allow a church.
C2 would allow a church, but C2 also would allow other things that I don't think would be compatible with the area.
Because, I mean, there's C2 right next to it, isn't it?
To the east, I believe.
Thought I was looking at the current zoning map.
It's,
The business park, the planned unit development is I2/C2
yeah,
PUD.
unfortunately,
But it's a
that
PUD, it has a restricted
It has its own set of
use
rules.
list
table
too.
is over it, unfortunately.
Oh, I thought it was just north of that property was C2.
No.
All office.
Has that been changed?
It's all O1, and then it's surrounded by residential, and then
And then
I2,
No.
and some parks.
I'd want to make clear, I am concerned about a precedent of spot zoning, right? I mean.
Okay,
I'm
yeah.
taking a look, so.
Yeah, okay.
I'm going to be clear on that.
Okay, yeah, you
So
were,
I'm trying to be,
okay.
how can we accommodate?
Yeah. But, you know, if you look at, in general, if you compare the uses of O1 and C1, there are a lot of similarities there. What I don't like about exploring, well, it's a spot zoning issue too, but to even consider changing that to C1, just creates a whole,
Right, C1, to me, C1 and R1 are out.
Yeah.
Because it's just,
Yeah,
it's too
okay.
small of an area.
okay, okay. So,
I agree.
okay.
I just thought that, I was looking at, maybe it's an old map. Thought it was the current one.
The one on the back of, the one on the second page of our notes.
Right.
All that.
But I looked it up on the
I'm-
website, so I
I'm
could see.
color,
the
I'm,
water.
I'm colorblind, but all that,
Apparently, our website needs to be updated.
Apparently.
yeah, so. And also, I think we need new maps in our packets, too. Okay.
Yeah, we can
All
provide
right.
that.
So I guess what you're hearing us say is that we think there's a solution, and the best solution is to maintain the existing zoning on the property, and then we'll go, and we can explore amending the use map, or the use list, so that a church would be an acceptable use of property in the O1 district. So,
Is that something planning and zoning board, we could,
well, we'd have to.
we'd have to make a
We'd
recommendation?
have to have a public hearing on that? 'Cause
Yes,
it's a text
a text amendment,
Just a
so
text-
what you are talking about is amending the text of the zoning ordinance to add a church into the O1 district as a special use is what I'm hearing.
I think that's the
And then,
safest route.
so they could, if they wanted to, they could submit a petition for special use, and we have done this before, hold that meeting at the same time, so hold it on the same night.
Okay.
So we review the request for the text amendment and then the request for the special use so that it can kind of move through together. If one of them, if the text amendment doesn't go through, then obviously the special use is not going to be for, approved, but it would be at their risk, so that is a possibility.
So does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay, very good.
But I would like also to say that for the time that we've been in Gurnee, want to just give you an overlay. From the time that we've been in Gurnee, we have been here before. And we have yet to understand why is it that on your sites there's one thing, and then when we come before you, there's something else.
So this is the first time that I've talked to you about this. When you read the list of members, that's actually the board. I don't know if you've been before the village board and not the planning and zoning board, but they're two different boards.
Okay.
So it could be that you've talked about this to the village board.
We
But-
talked to Mr. David Ziegler.
Yeah, again, I've not had any conversations with you. I would love to examine that information. Unfortunately, the Realtor had the wrong information on that. I can show you zoning maps going back 30, 40
Yeah,
years.
we bought the zoning map just
Yeah.
to make sure that we wouldn't go through this again.
So-
Yeah, so you've seen the zoning map shows at
Yes.
his office. Okay.
Easy.
Yeah, so I think you're getting a lot of favorable feedback from the members of the Planning and Zoning Board that are here, and I would encourage you to contact either Tracy or Dave and see if we can't get the wheels moving to get a text amendment in that would facilitate you being able to find a more permanent place in town here.
Okay.
Okay? All right? Yes, yeah.
Just want to make a clarification. I goofed. I was on the wrong side of Washington. It's hard to see the streets there. I was south of Washington.
I'm like, the zoning has,
On the map,
You need,
not
to-
in person.
you need to get some cheaters. All right, next meeting is scheduled for June 2nd on the calendar. Are we going to have anything?
we don't have any public hearings, and as of right now, we don't have any non-public hearings, but that could change.
Okay, next item on the agenda is public comment. Is there anyone here that would like to make a comment about something that's not on the agenda? If not, I'm going to close the floor to the public. Motion to adjourn would be in order. Moved by Mr. Bao,
Second?
second by Mr. Paff. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion carries.
Very good.
Enjoy the warm weather that's coming, folks.